It makes it look so easy.
I know, he's like, quick, get started.
And we have to read each thing again and then.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
For if you don't know, if you call my home phone and left a message, I end it with smile, make somebody share your smile. Make somebody give your smile or make somebody smile every day.
Like that.
I had somebody call back. They had a miss. It wasn't for my number. But they said, I listened to your number and I called I called your number incorrectly. And I'm glad I got your message.
Oh, that's nice.
That is something I will do.
Nice. All right, welcome everybody. Happy
Welcome.
Friday.
Yeah.
I think by now we've all met each other. Is that right? Or should we do another go around the circle? Have you two met
I
in
don't
person?
Yeah, I didn't think so either, yeah.
And let's do one circle.
I was on Zoom last time, so
Yeah.
I was kind of like,
Yeah, let's do a circle. We'll say our name and we will say, what the best form of potato is.
Oh,
I like it.
Yeah.
Only one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The best form, yeah. I will go first to give you all a moment to think. My name's Nina. I'm the chair of the commission. And I think the best form of potato is fried.
Oh, you mean cooked? I thought
Yeah.
you meant raw potato.
No,
Because they said
to
the
eat.
difference.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it could go either direction then, right? So Sundance Campbell, I guess we did meet over Zoom. I was looking over your way. I'm trying to figure out if we'd met and whether or not you were in the Air National Guard, which I know you're not now. I'm guessing you're not. But like out of the corner of my eye, I thought you were like ready to hop
Oh,
on
we
a
can also
flight.
say what we
Oh,
do for work.
Yeah,
yeah.
with the amazing outfit,
Sure.
which I probably shouldn't comment on. So, favorite form of potato would be, it's hard, but, fried potato, yeah. Pan fried, in case you care.
What did you say your potato was?
Like a pan fried potato, like a
All
whole
right.
fry.
Oh, I should
Yes.
clarify. I think French fried.
I figured.
Yes.
All right,
Mhm.
sorry, I'm not either. All right, Laverne Stockwell, my career is volunteerism. It is.
I believe it.
Well, I mean, you're-
Oh, I was waiting to hear about the potatoes.
They don't make volunteer potatoes, I'm sorry. I'd
Oh,
have
but they
to,
do volunteer.
I'd have to say, one of my favorites is, scallop potato.
Okay.
I'm Barbara McDade. I'm a retired librarian. And I volunteer a lot too. And my favorite potato is a baked potato.
I'm Sam Scapani. I work in nonprofit communications and my favorite kind of potato, I'm going mashed. I can't believe no one said that yet, but like with cheese.
My name's Cal Elmore. I'm a retired teacher. And I really like potato salad.
Also good.
Feel the pressure. I'm Kelly Chanel, I'm a musician and a mother, and my favorite potatoes are salt potatoes, and you can only get them in upstate New York in the summer.
Mm.
And it's just like these little baby potatoes with this humongous bag of salt, and you boil them, and there's nothing like it. You put butter on them, and yes.
I grew up in Syracuse and that's what I was gonna say.
I didn't think anybody would know.
Oh, yeah.
The
Salt
best,
potatoes.
yeah.
I'm Ann Krieg, I'm the Director of Community and Economic Development, and you can get them at Price Choppers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's your favorite
Salt
potato
potatoes,
too.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, they're so
Okay.
good.
Need to experience that.
Yeah.
Okay, my name's Holly Adams. I'm the vice chair of the commission and the chair of the grants subcommittee. And being Canadian, I have to say my favorite kind of potato is poutine.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Any questions about the meeting minutes?
And then when they be approved is.
Second.
All in favor? Right, you. Perfect. Report of chair. I think I will save my October stuff for the October section. And that's really kind of all I have. I will just put in a reminder that the Sidewalk Arts Festival is tomorrow. And I know Liam Reardon has asked for us to stop by his table with the students if we have time. His email was, it had 2 time slots that were like shifts of 3 hours. That was meant for the students. That was not meant for us. So any time that we are willing and able to give, he would be happy with. But yeah, so I think if you have time to stop by, cool. I would encourage everybody to go to the festival if you can anyway.
I'm doing the afternoon slot
Great,
with the kids.
perfect.
And actually, hold on, oh, I didn't say I do work for Maine Tourism out on Main District. Hey, how about that? I also, but anyways, when I was speaking to them the other day and found out that one of the 2 young ladies there is really working on a thing of Maine names, communities or such in Maine with their Indian meaning. And we have such a piece at tourism.
Cool.
So I'm bringing them to her.
Great,
And actually, I'm gonna put one under plastic and bring tape early when they're setting up, so they can tape it down if they want, public extra.
great. Thank you.
That's one thing Maine Tourism is providing, they don't know if it's okay.
Great.
There's also an art walk tonight
Yes, it's
First
Friday.
Friday, yeah.
and a 10x10 exhibit on the 10th.
That's right.
That will be really exciting.
Yes. That will be a book space. Which is on Columbia backside. And a map. Right there. Great. Any other reminders for things to show up to? Great. I'm working with Sarah on website updates. To get the map up there as well as our nominees list. So they will all be recognized on the website, which will be great.
It's also the mural at Abe Lincoln School is finished.
The
Yes,
pictures were
it is.
super cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to go see it in
Yeah.
person.
great.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think that's it. I do feel like I'm forgetting something, but maybe I'll remember it by the end. Financial report. We have not spent any money yet, so we have $20,360. So actually we did spend my, oh, and the extra October money is not on that.
No,
List.
because that's in a separate.
Okay,
On the
line.
next page.
oh. There we go, perfect. We did spend some of that this week, and so we are working on getting paid. Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Any other questions about the financial report? Cool. Committee reports. Any?
Yeah, so the grant deadline was October 1st. We got 4 submissions. They are from Penobscot Theater Company, Bangor Symphony, Robinson Ballet, and then Chris Packard, who organizes the book festival that has happened the past 2 years. So this will be the 3rd year at the Bangor Public Library. The total being asked for is $14,750. 2 of those applications are asking for 5,000, so it's quite a lot. Something we did talk about before in our last cycle was that it might be wise to split. So we have $20,000 to give to grants. We do 2 cycles, the fall and then the spring. I have heard from community members that they feel if they're submitting an application in the spring, they often feel like they are penalized for doing so because we often give a lot of money out in the fall because we have the full 20,000. So like, you know, if we give away 14,750, right, we have 5,000 left. So that's like really inequitable. And because institutions or organizations can only apply once per calendar year, like it's not like they could apply in the spring and then apply in the fall, right? Like they'd have to wait like a year and a half if they want to get in on the fall cycle. So one suggestion was to like split it up and say we only do 10,000 in the fall and that leaves us 10,000 for the spring, to make things a bit more balanced. So that's something that we can talk about. I'm thinking, so for the grants committee, I'm thinking of calling a meeting next Friday at this same time, since that seems to work for people, this Friday morning at 8:30. I will book a room through Sarah, and send out an email just to the full commission. I don't know at this point who's on the grants committee or if new people want to join the grants committee. But I thought we should do a preliminary meeting to just do an initial vetting of these proposals, see if anything's missing from the applications that, or we have any follow-up questions that we want to ask the people who submitted. And then, you know, kind of come up with our recommendations for the full commission and then bring that forward to the November meeting for us to vote. And invite the applicants to the November meeting so that they can speak on behalf of their application or answer any questions that we might have. So that's my plan. Open to questions, feedback.
Just a reminder from earlier this year, the grants committee is Holly, me, Laverne, Sam, and Cody. And anyone else who would like to join is welcome to.
Give it time.
8:30. Of course, if like no one from the grants committee can make that time, we'll think of another time. I'm just thinking Friday.
I
Morning.
can't do 8:30.
You can't.
No, but if you send out the apps on my email, I can
Give some feedback.
please.
The week after that would be preferable. I don't know if you're available at 8:30, the week after next, Laverne, but
I'm looking. You mean
for me personally, it would be preferable.
the 18th?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
I have an eyeball appointment at 8:30.
The 11th is easier for me, but I am the 11th, but I am flexible on timing. That's what I need to do.
The
Is it the
11th
time, Sam, or just the day?
It's the day.
Oh,
The 11th at 8:45 is a medical appointment.
ah,
Medical and then eyeballs.
all right, I don't think we can do 7:30. Maybe we can send around a,
Like a doodle or something.
Yeah, I could do a doodle. I mean, I could do like, you know, a Monday or Wednesday at 8:30 would also
Yeah.
work. So I'll send out a doodle then.
Sorry, Holly.
No, that's
You
okay.
have big dreams.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Monday the 7th, I could. Can you?
Okay, I'll suggest, you know, like 6 different days, times, and we'll just pick the one that works for the majority of the grants committee.
it's good. Thank you. Kristen's not here for cultural asset committee, but he's also, his term ends, he terms out in December, so we will need a new cultural assets committee chair, if anybody is interested. Put in a plug for that.
Who else is on it? Okay, because I am by default, because I wrote the RFP, but I haven't done anything with it yet, so I feel like you should be the chair.
Great.
I nominate you.
Oh, thanks.
We can do an official chair picking and new committee assignments in January.
Okay.
But just wanted to mention it before Tristan is done. That way, if anybody has questions for him, they can just email him. Yes,
We're done at the end of December.
Right.
yes,
I thought you said, oh, okay, sorry. I feel
but a
weird.
new year starts in January.
Oh,
Yeah,
But I thought he terms out.
yes, he does, right,
Like
so,
I do, December 31st.
right, so if anybody has questions for Tristan or Laverne, now is the time to ask. Great, October. Lots of updates. We had a great event on Tuesday. It was really exciting. Lots of people came. I didn't count.
It was hard to count.
It was hard to count.
It was full.
But we
It was
filled
packed.
Chimera.
Yeah, it was packed.
And the overflow in the lobby was very much needed, which was great. And some people were outside too. The weather was good. A lot of nominees came, not everybody was able to, but a lot of them came, which is great. A lot of them are very happy. Ben Lehman was the winner, for those who haven't heard yet. And everybody seemed really happy about him winning. And what else? I think it was a great venue. We give away lots of maps. We have a few left that I'm gonna bring to the Sidewalk Festival tomorrow. We asked Sarah to print more to bring to the library because they asked to have more to just hand out to people in a few different places, which I think is a great idea.
I was gonna have some on the library table tomorrow too.
Great. Do you already have some? Do you need more?
I took a bunch of them from the other night.
Perfect. That's great.
I think we should be under budget for the
Yes.
2,500.
I think so too.
Do you know what the Clarissa invoice?
375.
Okay, then I think we should, so we got a really nice gift for the winner from Cider's Woodcrafting in Brewer, and it's a clipboard that's engraved on the back, like we did last year. It's very similar, and says his name and 2004 or 2024 Bangor Arts Award. And so that was 80 something, and then we also bought him flowers,
Mhm.
for like 20,
Yeah,
so,
and we paid some for food.
right, so did we get the invoice yet?
No. I have not seen anything.
Yeah, so we told them our max budget was 500.
Yeah.
So assuming that, I think we'll come under the 2,500.
Yeah. And I think we assume that whatever's left can go into our grants, but,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and then of course the $1,000 for the
Right, the
the
actual
prize.
prize, yeah.
Did we ever get the, the plaque with all the winners?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask.
I'm sorry.
No,
There's meant to be a plaque in City Hall, right?
Yeah,
that
we
was the
should-
plan, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe if there's leftover funds, we could think about doing that,
Yeah,
Okay.
if you wanted.
yeah.
We can
I've
take a
looked
look.
into it and no one in Bangor seems like able, so I'm like, should we just order something
Oh.
online? And then I just never found anything
Right.
I loved, and anyway.
And we then have to re-integrate, like we have to be able to
reintegrate
add
the
names.
Things every
Right.
year,
Year.
and I don't, yeah.
There's that engraving place over in
Well,
Brewer,
we have
in
to
the
be able to get
industrial
it
park.
engraved locally.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know where.
Yeah,
is
it seems like it
I've-
shouldn't be
I've
as
got
hard
it
as
in-
I've found it.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Like
can
for
tell
all
you.
the sports teams, as soon as the high school.
yeah, I
the
think
little-
that's where
Right.
they go, they
Yeah.
call that
Yeah.
person
Okay.
or.
You can think of what that place is called?
There's two or three
Yeah.
others. Trying to think. One, right off the top of my head, that my daughter used when she did the park bench
Mhm.
at Fairmount, and I can't remember its. I think it begins with, I'll find out too.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Then we can price that and see if that makes sense. Or if
Yeah,
it
so I
makes more
think
sense.
we
to-
should have, like $525 left over.
Okay,
It's not what the plaque is gonna cost, I
Right.
assume, so.
that's great.
May I make a thing about Ben?
Mhm.
They sat him down and had to talk him into going Tuesday night.
I know.
He did not want to go. He didn't feel he was an artist. Because for him, even though he is an artist,
Mhm.
he thinks that artists more being paintings and photography art than his art.
Mhm.
And Barry told me this. He said, we sat him down and we had to convince him to come. And he said, he told me this after we were talking, and he said, and I said, is that right? He said, yes. He said, I really didn't feel that I was qualified for the award.
Well, hopefully more people now think of theater as art also.
And he does do other art. I have
Yes,
one of
I
his
know he
pieces
does.
on my wall in my bedroom.
Well,
And he was like so gracious. He's like, if anything falls apart, it's a mixed media thing. And he's like, if anything falls apart on it, just let me know. I'll fix it for you for free. I said, no, it's holding up wonderful. And it's just, yeah, he's
Yeah,
very
he is.
talented
I
in
knew
many
that-
different
that's what
ways.
I meant.
Yeah.
He is an
Yeah.
artist.
Yeah.
But he doesn't feel that what he does fits what he thought.
Yeah.
That prize, that gift, that honor should go to.
Well, hopefully all the positive voices in the room helped convince him otherwise.
Yeah. I
Um,
did get some feedback just from people who were attending and also some of the jury members who thought maybe for next year, we might consider doing multiple categories for the award and having multiple winners. I don't know what that would look like, or like a first place winner or an honorable mention. They just
Mhm.
felt like they wanted to give more artists more awards, which I get and is really nice. But I think, you know, there's next year too, like there's so many years that hopefully like the love will be spread year after
Mhm.
year.
Yeah.
But that's just something that our October committee might want to think about in the future. So they thought maybe like a performance category, which would include like the drag performers and theater, and then like a more visual, and I guess performance would include
Okay.
music as well.
Yeah.
And then maybe there'd be like, so maybe there'd be 2 awards, performance and then like visual art writing or something.
I heard a little bit of feedback. I don't know how big of a deal this is, but there was like a little bit of murmuring when I don't remember her name, the woman that presented the award to Ben.
Mhm.
There were some people behind me were like, well, she's part of the theater. Like, of course, she's gonna like vote for him to get the award. It all was dispelled immediately because people love him in the community, but I just, in selecting the judges going forward, maybe we want to make sure there's no like overlap. And I know that's hard because it's a small community,
Yeah,
but
well, I mean, like, so we had judges from all different art types, right? So like Beth Weenan is on the Bangor Symphony, and like Anatole Week was nominated, and like he didn't win even though
Right.
Beth is on the jury, so like Jen only had 1 vote on a jury of what, 5?
Yeah.
So
Four,
4.
yeah.
I'm just
But,
reporting.
Yeah,
Right,
no, I think-
absolutely.
no,
And I
I
think
hear-
it's-
I hear you, and I was wondering if that might have, if
Mhm.
people might have said, well, that's a conflict of interest, that she's a juror
Mhm.
and she works with him, so.
Like I said, they got over it immediately. And as soon as Ben spoke, like everyone was like tearing up and no one said boo, but you know,
Yeah.
it was something that people were saying behind me.
And it's always good, I mean, this is still a fairly new program, right? We're in our 3rd year, and feedback is always good to listen to and to hear, and we're figuring out what makes sense and what works best and all the things. And I think every year we learn something from both the event and the whole system, and yeah. And I do think the conflict of interest thing is really difficult to avoid in such a small town, right? When it's all arts and culture things, even if you don't work with someone, you probably know them, or you have friends who know friends, and so having a jury that's completely comprised of people who don't know any of the nominees is gonna be nearly impossible.
Yeah.
And throwing in another thing, I don't know, those people behind you don't know. Jen could have excused herself from voting. And because here in this unit, over my years, if somebody's sitting here and somebody is going for one of the, grants and has a major unit with that.
Mhm.
Rescue them, what's called rescue themselves or excuse themselves
That's right.
from that issue.
Mhm.
I don't know, Jen may have done it.
Right, and that's not something I would share outside of the jury.
Right.
No,
Right.
and I'm saying
Right,
they have that option if they feel.
I was gonna say, is it okay?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't able to make it off the island in time to get there, but it sounds like, though it's good to explore these issues, the feeling that the space was just a positive one.
It
Which is great, and I wonder if there's a way to frame it where, there's, like different categories and maybe, you frame it as, if I'm the, person being nominated representing, dance, that that there's some acknowledgement that you kind of won the award in your category there, without it being an award for dance, for, visual arts, things like that. But I mean, just kind of framing it in a way that each nominee is essentially being recognized.
Mhm.
And then one's gonna be picked, and it'll rotate from year to year, right? Just by natural circumstance,
Mhm.
without having to create like 20 awards,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
which isn't necessary.
yeah. What I thought was great this year, Nina, is that you read out the list of nominees, which I didn't do
Yes.
last year, and like read a little bit about each one, so I think that gave them, I don't know, recognition, even if they didn't win the award, and made it meaningful that they were there as well. And
Yeah. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think
we also
should do
handed
that
out
Going forward.
the sheet, which, we're gonna make all these links clickable and then put it on the website too. So that they could all meet each other, and so that people who came could learn who all the nominees are and all the cool things that they do. That's right. Ben was not the only deserving person in that room. There were many, many. Cool.
I think you did such a good job. It was lovely. It was just a beautiful space. There's always gonna be people that are gonna grumble. And I thought the kids did a really good job with their table too. I was impressed because when they come and talk to us, they didn't have like the posters and stuff, and it looked great. So I was really impressed all around. It went like way out of my comfort zone to come. So it was good. I was really happy I did.
Great.
Yeah.
I was happy you were there too.
Yeah.
Right. Any other October thoughts, questions? We will probably not have an October committee meeting for a while, but then we'll have some in the spring to start planning for next year. And if anybody wants to join that committee, if anybody has ideas, I will just keep a running list of ideas and thoughts and feedback for next year, and then we can make it even better. Right. RFP for public restroom art project. So, I sent around this link a couple of times in the last month, for everybody to look at. I printed out one copy, and I would love to spend a few minutes talking through a couple of questions we have on this. Maybe more than a couple minutes. So I also have it on my screen with kind of all the questions that Sam and I have already put in here, and I do want to thank Sam for putting this together. Does anybody need the paper copy? Has anybody not had a chance to look at this yet?
I can make copies if you need to.
Oh, do we need copies?
If you're gonna dig deep into it, probably yes.
Okay, great, let's do that. While you're making copies, actually, Betsy, are you here for participating in something specific or just listening?
Fish. I'm the fish that's on the agenda.
You're the big fish on the agenda?
I'm not seeing a big fish on my agenda.
Don't see a big
What is it labeled as? Should I call it?
sidewalk art festival art installation?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that now? I missed that.
I'm happy to hop up and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
There is an artist that we have worked with in the past. His name is Joe Rizzo. He's a very cool and interesting guy. He is the person who did the sign outside the main Discovery Museum. He built all the installations in the Discovery Museum that kids crawl through, and he has like just this like really great story about how when they originally commissioned him, it was all like pictures and posters and things like that. And he has two children who are like special needs, and he was like, I know they need to like get in there and like feel it and experience it. And so he kind of helped transform what, the Discovery Museum came. So he has a lot of experience doing a variety of public art things, and then also things that are like private museums and things like that. But he has this pet project that he's been working on for a really long time. It was scheduled to be revealed at the Big E Fair as his like big reveal. Something came up and he wasn't able to bring it to the Big E Fair. So he called us and said, hey, I have this really cool piece of public art. It's a fish, and everything that he does, he's also like very much an outdoorsman and a conservationist. And someday, if you ask him about the main Discovery Museum sign, there's like this like 1 hour like lecture on frogs that goes along with it, about native species, and they're the canary in the coal mine for the ecological system, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so the fish also has all this like really cool story behind it, and it's gigantic. It's 20 feet by 8 feet. It's big enough that you can like get up on it. It's really cool. And then he built a, it's on a trailer, and he built this photo booth that attaches to it so that people can like get in the photo booth and take pictures of it. Yada yada. So like a week ago, he like called me and was like, hey, I got this big fish. Can you help me find a spot for it? It's going to be in the Festival of Lights parade.
Oh, cool.
As well. He's gonna like have it all lit up. It has like electrical capabilities and such. And so we kind of need a home for it between the big reveal at Sidewalk Art Festival and Festival of Lights Art. Festival of Lights Parade. I have a couple of plan Bs on private property, like were it not to, because truthfully, there is if it was going to be a permanent art installation, like there's a whole process that you guys go through, and I'm sure you've been through, some of you have been through to approve a piece of public art, but this is kind of temporary, kind of like a installation for October and a little beyond. So Anne suggested that I come to the meeting and talk about it. I wish you were here because I don't know what, if anything, we actually need from the commission for a temporary installation. If it's just like an event permit in a public space, or if she's looking for something more from you guys on the.
Should be back in the other.
I know.
Yep.
So, at any rate, we have a plan to put it out in front of the library, which I think is a really great spot anyways. But. Hello.
Perfect
We were just talking about you. So I was saying that when a piece of art is a permanent piece of public art, it has to go through a whole process, right?
Right.
And this is temporary, so I wasn't sure.
And only if it's on public property.
Correct, right, and I wasn't sure if you're wanting to put it on the. That works, on this agenda, is that you were looking for something from the CCD in terms of endorsements or.
For which project? I'm sorry.
The fish. The giant
Yeah.
fish. During the Sidewalk Art Festival, it's gonna be in the middle of the street, and then we're gonna move it to its
Right.
temporary home. Where it will sit for a month and a half before the Festival of Lights parade.
And then is he looking for a permanent spot after that, or?
Yeah, I mean, he is, it doesn't have, I mean, like if you guys were interested, I could see it as a piece that would fit. In with some of the themes of what the commission is working on, like I know that there's gonna be a RFP for the Pickering Square art, right? At some point coming through. There's, a replacement at Gomech and where it's a fish or on the waterfront, like, yeah, I could see it, like, I don't think that that's the intent of like today. But I mean, you could, if everybody liked it and wanted to consider it as a work of public art, it could at some point like resurface as that, but I don't know if you're
Right.
looking for some sort of.
Yeah,
Yeah, for the temporary.
because it's a temporary installation. Yeah, that would be good.
And is the library very interested in hosting it for the next month and a half, or have you not?
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, they are, but I knew that I needed to have, within a week's turnaround time.
Right.
I know.
A placement shows up with it. For it to go, but I don't know if it's something also that, I think, not thinking going Pickering Square right now, because it's a sand pit, right? I don't know what the other spot would be like the place where the Bangor letters are gonna go.
Yeah.
That would be another high visibility spot where it could go.
Mhm.
Where's that?
Where the intersection of State, Harlow, there's a little green spot there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are we brainstorming a spot right now? Is that what we're doing for the temporary or?
well, for temporary, you're just
Yeah.
putting it in.
Yeah.
for-
Okay.
Right, but unless you guys wanted to have it on like city property, like that's an option. We're talking about tomorrow, so I'm not really sure.
Right, does the city?
Yeah.
I just reached out
prefer
I
to
reached
have
out
it
to
on
like
city
everybody and was
property?
like, I have this art installation.
No, I'm just saying, if it's on
Installation.
public property, it goes, the commission makes a recommendation to BED on it.
Yeah.
So,
So
Yeah.
maybe the library is the best
Mhm.
option also for time, cause
Yeah.
you could put it at the
Right,
library
cause you can
tomorrow
do it
afternoon.
Mhm.
without,
They've approved it,
right,
cause otherwise we need to go right through us.
and then maybe we can rethink it there after.
Yeah,
But we can definitely also put it on the agenda for December. Cause our December meeting will be before the Festival Lights Parade. To see about after. I don't know if it's winter outside permanent.
oh yeah, it's
Okay.
permanent,
Cool.
yeah, like he does, like, you know, like it's made out of the same material that the sign is made
Yeah.
out of for the main Discovery Museum. So it's built, some people can climb on it, they can,
My
Yeah.
3-year-old's gonna love it.
yeah, absolutely, I know, I was just
Mhm.
watching children climb on the river driver bench in West Market Square, and I love pieces like that where, you know, it's built to be interacted with.
Yeah.
So.
What's the
first
first is something, how
Cool.
something like that come under?
So the artists themselves usually, and he does have the appropriate insurance certificates for it, so he,
Mhm.
especially when an artist makes a traveling piece, like they have to maintain their own insurance on it.
The first thing I thought of though is where we were gonna talk about putting something to replace where that statue was removed as permanent place by the river. It wouldn't be as highly visible, but we were already talking about, commissioning something to go there, like.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just the first thing I thought of when you brought it up. but-
I know, I thought of that too, because it fits in. Like, there's a whole story, like I said, with the fish that involves like the Penobscot River and
Mhm.
ecology and, outdoorsmanship and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That is really good, and I think we're gonna try to work with the library to have like a talk that he gives, where he gets to like talk about it and,
Great.
and that
So
kind of
he's
stuff.
just donating this for,
It's not so much a donation because he maintains ownership, he's putting it out there
okay,
for visibility, and I think, ultimately it's good for him because he does. This has been a passion project and it does need a home somewhere, and so hopefully it will draw enough attention to it that it can fit, because it's a lot of different places that I think it could fit in.
Brings up a good point, though. Is he hoping the city will buy it?
I don't think that he has
Okay.
any of that in
Alright.
there.
Cool.
I'm just throwing it out there as like
So maybe we should put on the November
Yeah,
agenda, not December, because then that gives some time.
Yep.
To get it to BED and
That sounds
before
good.
the parade.
Yeah.
Okay.
it would be a fun focal point of a marketing campaign, buy the fish, something.
yeah,
I can see kids getting into doing things to raise money
for the fish, right? Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a really cool piece, and it's something, I mean, I know he was he was working on it 2 years ago, possibly even longer ago, so it's been like a long time project for him that he really, really cares, has invested a lot of himself in. So I think that mostly he just is ready to share it. He wouldn't send any pictures of it, I couldn't say, because he's very secretive, and wants it to be a big reveal, and so I don't really know what it looks like. I have like the mock-ups, that show like size and scale, and I know what the little photo booth looks like. It's actually super cute because he wanted to make it, he's really into his grandkids now, and they have like little beavers and things like that. So it's like you're taking like a selfie with like these little like beavers and a giant fish.
cool. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Great.
So that's it.
So do we need a motion to,
Not yet, because it's
No.
gonna be on the library, so, but in November, we'll talk a little bit more about location.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And maybe we invite him to that
Yeah.
meeting.
That's a good idea.
Cool.
You can.
Yeah, you'll have to carve out some time. He doesn't tell any story in a short
Okay,
fashion, so make sure you have.
Good to
time
know.
when you put it on the agenda.
because we will also have to select grantees in November, so
Exactly,
that'll be it.
So you'll probably
Full
be
meeting.
thinking about this as you do everything on an ongoing basis, right? So, worth paying, you probably already know, but the group that came last time to our meeting is doing some kind of a mural on the pump station there, the state
Yeah.
pump station, that,
Mhm.
relates to the river and, biology and ecology of mussels, I believe, freshwater mussels.
Yeah.
So, in my mind, I'm thinking about that a little bit, you know, I mean, could that? be-
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I was saying, like it fits into like the
Yeah,
themes of
yeah.
like what we've been doing,
Yeah.
you know, overall with tapping into ecology, tapping
Yeah.
into, you know, native history, and the modern day native experience. Like, I think it fits very much in with everything that's going on right
Yeah.
now.
And related to connectivity of that space to downtown, you know, like I would,
Yeah,
I guess this is something we'll talk about in November, but I wouldn't mind if it made sense twisting the focus of Epstein properties. Like maybe it would sit not in the corner parking lot where they used to be.
I-
Drive-through, you know, that.
well, I talked to, that was one of my, like, that was my plan C tier, was, you know, reaching out to
Yeah.
Epstein Properties about like that big empty lot, you know, that's right up against Main Street as an option, and then, you know, plan D was the parklet space, right? It was like a very short turnaround time, so I was like, let me put every option on the table so that we make sure that we have some place to put it, and like, we'll start with like the most visibility and most foot traffic and work our way down. But I do think those are good, and I think, you know, an idea, I'm going completely off agenda here and then I'll pop off, you know, other things that just downtown is thinking about in terms of art, like a relationship that I started building is with the Times Square Arts Alliance in New York City. They have a massive art budget of almost $1 million a year. And one of the things that they do is commission a large piece that sits in Times Square, you know, for a period of months. And then some of them are lined up with a permanent home afterwards, like they'll go on to be at a museum or someplace like that, but then some of them just go sit in a warehouse. And so we started talking about Bangor being able to borrow their exhibits over the, you know, like for a summer, like after, you know, like, so they'll be in Times Square and then they'll be there. And then they also have, I mean, this is another tangent, but we're also doing these like these digital kiosks. We just got a grant to do that will be popping up around town. And one of the really, I don't know how if anyone's ever experienced the Magic Minute in Times Square before. If you go at 11:57 at night, Times Square Alliance Arts gets to take over all of the billboards, all the digital billboards, and they commission artists to like seasonally. I think they have like 3 programmed a year, and they take over, and it's like this like massive art experience that rotates out 3 times a year, and it's really cool. So when you're there, it's worth staying up till 11:57. Best viewpoint is if you go up to the top of the bleachers and stand in the middle of the top of the bleachers, and then you get like this like surrounding experience that's really, really cool. But at any rate, so they have right now, I think like eight or more things just like sitting in a warehouse that we could, you know, that we're gonna work on this relationship to borrow for a relatively small amount of money, you know, for them if we are interested. And I know we're talking about programming for Pickering Square and stuff, so that will come up too. So like, just like thinking about those things that will, I know we want to
Exciting.
support local arts, but I think, most local artists would agree that like sometimes when you bring in somebody from outside, it like elevates and the experience for everybody, and like people will come to see this like famous piece and then thereby discover our local art scene as well. So like some sort of working that into the mix for everyone. So there'll probably be more on that later, and I don't know how it all will work out, but
We'll figure it out.
but they're very excited about it. They're really excited about it, and like we've already like talked about like what pieces would be good kickoff pieces, and there's some that just don't fit, I think, you know, like they have this like giant animatronic hot dog, like.
Come on, that would be awesome.
I mean, I think it's really awesome, but you know, she's like, I know that a hot dog, like it's a very New York, it's very like street food kind of thing, like it might not mean as much in Bangor, you know.
Have a red hot dog.
That's true.
I'm looking for it. I have to go back and look at the pictures, you know, to like see if it's red or not. But if you go on Times Square Alliance, like they have a page and you can see all the past exhibits. Like my hope, the one that I want to bring the most is the one that's most difficult to bring is Sanctuary. It's called Sanctuary. Did you see that one? It is so amazing. It is so amazing. Did you know that it's entirely made out of acrylic fingernails?
No, I didn't know that.
I know, like that added this whole other layer to it. Anyways, so
Cool.
more on that stuff. Like I
Yes.
do want to talk more with you guys about big public art stuff. But this is just temporary and, you know.
All right.
for most of you, Barbara, you do. And I don't know who else besides me sitting at this table and Betsy, how many years were you involved with this, with this?
I think I was, yeah, for 4 years,
How
the
years?
Yep.
staff liaison for the cultural commission. Yep.
All right. I hate to cut this short,
No,
but we
I
do
know.
have another
Thank you.
big thing to
Betsy.
talk about, and we have about 12 minutes left. Great. So this RFP, why don't I go through some of the questions that we have for the city in particular? And then, maybe we will kind of follow up on some edits over the next couple of weeks. One kind of more esoteric question is if the city has certain goals for the artwork that we should add into the summary. Aside from like theme and beautifying these restrooms.
Not that I know of.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Just
Resolve
that one.
that.
Great. Then very important question, of course, is the honorarium and the materials. And I know when they were first talking about these, not first, when they were talking about these restrooms this past year through the approval process, they did talk about the fact that there's budget accounted for artwork. But we need to know how much and how much of that would be an honorarium and how much of it is like, what is the limit for materials? And how the city would like to handle that. Then we need to know where the two that we're gonna start with are located. I think it would be good
Okay.
to pinpoint which ones,
So we're
especially,
opening- Are there more than two right
Yes.
now?
but we're starting with two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know of the one across from the library and then
Yeah.
the one by the,
They couldn't, down by the.
it's near Sea Dog, I don't know, it's
By
by
the
the
waterfront,
park,
yeah.
the waterfront, yeah.
Yep,
So are those the two or?
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be your choice.
I think there are 5 installed so
Yeah.
far. The
I think
others are
5,
in
yeah.
other places,
Yep.
but not
So-
Fairmount.
what, no. But are there, like, I'm thinking of those two because they're just really visible to me, but where are the other three? Are they in visible locations?
Yeah, they're in different parks.
There's one in Cascade Park.
Mhm.
Behind
Like Clark
Waterworks?
Street too, right, or over that way?
I thought there was one near Abraham Lincoln School. too. I haven't seen
I
it.
can send you the locations.
Right. Do we decide which two? Or does the
Um,
city decide which two?
Yeah,
We can decide, cool. Right, the library, I think, is the most visible, probably the most graphic.
I think like the themes would be so cool, like, 'cause it's also near the, where the farmer's market is, so it could go either way, like books or
Yeah.
like produce and
Mhm.
farm stuff.
Yeah. And maybe the waterfront is a good one, given the pump station mural that's gonna start next year. And kind of lots of different things in that area that are
Right.
happening. But if anybody, when you send that list around, if anybody has other thoughts, we can follow up and we can select 2 spots. Great. This is also a bigger question. Does the city, so what I think this came from a conversation with Bangor Beautiful and some mural painters. The recommendation is to paint on wood or plywood panels
mhm.
and then to have the city install them. I think the city would have to handle installation.
Yep.
Does the city also want to provide the plywood so that they're all the same? Or does the city just want to specify the type of wood, the thickness? And we do also need to know the size and how many panels per restroom. I think there could definitely be one on either side, but can there also be one on the back? So is it 3?
Yeah, I mean, I think in those locations, I mean, if you do the one at the library and the waterfront, I think you need all 3
Mhm.
sides, don't you?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
So we need dimensions for how big they can be. If we need to talk to Tracy, I'm
Mhm.
happy to set up a meeting sometime and kind of
Yep.
ask questions. And then one question is, can people, if we either provide or set the dimensions, can people change some dimensions within that, like the Abe Lincoln mural made me think of like, could you cut out the top into a funny shape, but the bottom stays the same?
Right,
What are the
and
restrictions?
the ply would be part
requirements?
of the art.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I'm speeding right through.
No,
all
can
of
I ask
this.
a really quick question?
Yes.
Like we say in this, we recommend, are we also open to them painting right on the
I
side of
think
the
not.
restroom? So then should we change it from
To
recommend to like,
Require.
you must?
Yes.
Because
right,
that's kind of like, if you had a person who just like spray painting right on a wall, they might
That's
not
true.
want to do the plywood thing.
Yeah. Good point.
okay.
Great. Jump in if you have questions as we're going through this. Question about eligibility. The Bangor Arts Award is for people who live or work in Bangor. The grant application is for projects located within the city of Bangor. So, do we need these artists to live or work in Bangor? Or is it enough that the project, the mural, is in
That
Bangor?
the mural is, it's up to you.
Okay, what
you
are
wanna-
people's thoughts?
You could say that you could give preference,
Okay,
you know.
my one thought is, we talked a lot about having students involved in this and maybe some art teachers. And there are people who are heavily involved in the Bangor art scene who live in Brewer or who go to Brewer High School. And I don't really want to restrict that. I
I
don't
don't
want to
either.
exclude them.
Yeah.
So are we okay with not having a residency eligibility restriction?
I would vote for like greater Bangor area.
Okay.
Like, so we're, you know, we would probably not give preference to like a Portland artist. I don't even know that they would like see this or want to do it,
Yeah.
but, like, you know, Wabanaki artists who might not be living in Bangor, I think that'd be awesome. Like, I think Brewer, yeah, because the project is benefiting Bangor, like the project's here. So that feels like when we do that grant applications, like as long as the project
We
takes
should probably
place here.
define greater Bangor area.
Should we?
I don't know.
Like, if someone lives. Or do we leave that up to, you know, when we select, like?
If you lived in Levan, is that greater Bangor area?
And if it's a really
Yeah.
strong
I mean,
application
the
from
artists
Levant,
might
is
wanna
that,
know if you're gonna give
Yeah.
preference to
Yeah.
Bangor. Yeah,
Like,
Can I just ask a question?
yeah,
Is it really important to have it defined to Bangor at all in any way, shape or form? So let me just present a totally out of the box scenario that's not gonna happen. But let's say Shepherd Ferry wanted to paint one of our restrooms, would we say no?
Right.
Or would bringing somebody from away who has their own following enhance the art scenes here for our local artist community?
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I agree with Betsy, when we did the canoe, we didn't require that people lived in Bangor.
but that wasn't paid for by the city.
Oh, that's true.
So that was a special case, but. I tend to agree. I doubt Shepherd Ferry will want
Maybe
to,
Banksy will
given.
show up.
Maybe Banksy will show up, right? I mean, the funding for this is not gonna be massive.
Right.
So it's not gonna have an international draw, but, right. If it did, if someone were to just show up and say, hey, I have a cool idea, I wanna work with your students, let's do it, then. They
Yeah.
probably wanna say yeah, right? Okay. So. Great. We had a note in here about possibly having family members of commissioners not be eligible. I don't think that's required. It's one of those where, again, if your sister or your spouse applies, you would just recuse yourself from the vote. And I think that's fine. Great. Let's see, I would like to still talk to Bangor Beautiful more specifically now that we have kind of a draft. I kind of would like to show them this draft because they are very familiar with making murals and applying for things. but would we want to have a representative from Bangor Beautiful as part of the selection committee? Or would we not want to do that in case they want to apply? Or leave it up to them?
Like you said, they could recuse themselves if
Yeah.
someone from
Yeah.
their committee
Great,
applied.
so we can talk to them.
Just change
Yeah.
to 25.
Oh, yeah. Probably.
And Nina, not to get in the weeds too much, but,
Yep.
if it was not specifically plywood someone wanted to use, but Luan or sheet metal or plastic is.
I think we have to ask Tracy what is possible to install.
Yeah, what is the
Like,
material?
what are the
Yeah.
restrictions? So yeah, that's an open question still. Is
Okay.
what? How specific do we need to get and what are the requirements on material? Yeah,
Well, that's what I was thinking about is like, I've just been sitting here thinking about everything that Betsy said and like, this is gonna be. Will they be permanent because of the materials used, or will they only last a certain amount of time that the city's gonna pay for? And like, if it was, I know this is crazy, but like, if it was a digital thing that, you know, maybe more for the Pickering's Firth and where the artwork could be changed and you wouldn't have to worry about it breaking down over time that the city's paying for. So that with the material being plywood, if they're painting on it, how is it gonna be protected from the elements?
Yeah.
So I guess, did that make any sense
yes, it does,
whatsoever? Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
Plywood can be varnished and protected
Okay.
and it lasts a number of years. Same as murals that are permanently painted on a wall.
Yeah,
There will have to be some touch-ups and it lasts a certain amount of time. I don't think there's budget for digital displays
Yeah.
connected to these restrooms.
Right, right,
And I think
that's what I think.
That
more like
would-
Pickering, that might be cool.
maybe, I don't know, we can talk about, oh, it's 9:30.
That's another, yeah.
yeah.
I was just sitting here thinking about it all. like,
Digital
connecting in
displays
my head.
have
I don't know.
a much bigger budget, like
Yeah.
much bigger budget. And we have some thoughts about digital displays that maybe we can talk about at another
It
meeting.
wasn't
Yeah.
digital
Um,
displays, it was about material.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So one of the things that a lot of the downtown associations are doing with their murals, that are not gonna be direct painted onto a surface, is they're using vinyl. Like vinyl wraps.
okay,
And the vinyl wraps, that, one of the great advantages to it is that they work better for graffiti removal than either paint or other materials that people have used in the past. So just as throwing it out there as an option too, it's inexpensive. If something were to happen to it, it can be replaced more easily and graffiti can be removed from it super easy.
Got
So, and if you're interested, I can send you what I have and know about that. 'Cause it's not just like a vinyl wrap like you get on your car, it's like a little bit different.
Yeah. Can you send that to me? Would be interested.
Do you want them, when they, as part of the submission requirements to, that they sort of review what they're gonna do in
Yes.
terms of materials, maybe not the design, but the materials?
I think we would want to see both design ideas. Drawings or digital sketches of what they wanna do.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then also a summary of the project. And did we say materials?
Yeah,
So maybe put including desired location and materials.
Yeah.
yeah,
Used.
I think that still is a question for Tracy is do we need to restrict it very specifically to what materials they can use? In which case we don't need them to describe the materials, we'll be more clear up above.
I wonder if we might wanna take out the explanation of how the community will be invited to interact with the piece.
Sure.
Because if like we host the launch event, that'll
Yeah.
be how the public interacts and
Yeah.
then maybe we control that and they don't have to worry about like.
Yeah.
Hosting their own kind of.
Yeah.
Interactive.
Mhm.
That would like trip me up. I'd be like, how is the public gonna interact with this restaurant?
Right.
Except for user.
That's true.
So,
We can also take out, we have this up in the review criterias. Artists will be encouraged but not required to participate in an associated program or artist talk. But right, also given that these are on restrooms. Maybe we don't need an artist talk, but we will have an opening, but we handle the opening and we'll invite them to it.
that could be left in. I don't
Okay.
know. I kind of like the idea of like,
Yeah, we can leave it in.
do a tour of public art, like all the
Yeah.
public art in Bangor and have them at their restaurant.
Yeah.
talk about their art.
And I like having it. Like planting the seed of bring us some ideas. If you have an idea of how you want to present this, then If you wanna host a class or something, then let's talk about it. Cool. Sorry, we're running late. So then the timeline is a question for the city. Is this at all
Yeah, I
reasonable
mean,
or
this will be
possible?
taken and put in, we have a template that we use.
Yeah,
And typically, you know, they do 2 to 3 weeks. We could do a month if you feel like people need that much time.
oh, for how long it's open?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure. And is posting it in November and then having it be due December 1st reasonable, or should we push this to post in January, due February, select March? What kind of a process does this still have to go through? Say we can answer the
Yeah,
questions for
it'll-
Parks and Rec in the next 2 weeks.
Then it'll take another probably week or so to get it posted.
Okay,
So, yeah, so
So that's
we could
possible.
probably do like mid-November to
Okay.
mid-December kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Now, may I ask this one, the 2 bathrooms units were here, and then they had to be returned.
Mhm.
Was there a plan when they would be returned back to Bangor? Was there a dating?
I'm not sure what that date is of when the switch, I thought they had been switched, but I'll double check.
That's what I thought too.
They're out.
Too, I
Yeah.
thought they were up.
Yeah.
But also the installation isn't gonna happen until next June, most
Right,
likely,
but I
right? We're
just
not gonna
Right,
have we're gonna give people time to actually make the work, especially if it's a group of students who are also applying for college. I don't want to give them only a month to paint a mural really quickly.
Mhm.
And it's gonna be easier to install when it's not freezing temperatures out, when it's not snowing. Doesn't mean the installation can't be permanent or as permanent as possible, but
Mhm.
I think June makes sense for installation, and then we can have a nice summer launch event. Cool. So, lots of open questions.
Yep.
But if we can touch base with Tracy and
Mhm.
figure out some of the open things. If anybody has other thoughts after the meeting, feel free to email.
The only other question I had is, we're just responsible for approving the artwork. We're not responsible for giving will the money for the honorarium have to come out of our budget? I guess
No.
is my
No.
question.
No,
Alright.
this comes out of the bathroom budget. the
Right.
restroom
Okay,
budget.
alright,
Yes, there was money accounted for in that.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know if we had to go through that process, like with the grants.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
Alright.
It will be similar where people will send the applications.
Right, right.
I have Sarah in here because that was easy,
Yeah,
Um,
there's a
but there's a whole
requirement
thing, right?
thing with
And then
questions and stuff.
we will look at them and we will select.
Right.
But yeah, that doesn't come out of our budget.
Okay, cool.
Great. Cool. So. Pickering Square, should we move that to November or do we need to talk about that
Yeah,
now?
we can move that to November.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, any other thoughts, questions? Yes.
I'm just totally changing the topic, I'm sorry. The candidates forums for those running for city council or school committee are this Tuesday, October 8th. It'll be in this room. School committees at 5:30 and city council candidates are at 6:45. And then there will be another event on Tuesday, October 22nd at the Bangor Masonic Center for the candidates from Bangor running for the state legislature. And so if you have questions you'd like ask, you can send them to me or there's, I think it's bangor@lwvme.org. It's sponsored by the League of Women Voters and I'm the local chair.
Thank you. I adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everyone.